NAC is back, baby.
Back. Episode 28. Guys, we've been doing 28 episodes.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Just a few more away from episode 100. You know what they say about episode 100? Most don't get it. Don't even get to episode 10, let alone episode 28.
Do they say that?
I feel like there should be, yeah, for sure. There's like some podcast statistic that most podcasters don't make it past episode 10.
Wow.
Something like that.
Made it past episode 10.
Why do we keep doing it?
Our loyal listeners and our loyal viewers, really keeping us honest out here. And we do it because it's the love of the game. That's why, David.
It's the love of the game.
We love these tokens and we love these products. And we love one another.
I want to hear from David, actually. David, why do you do it?
Why do you do it, David?
I do it for the love of the game.
What is the game that you love? What's the game?
The game that I love is hopping on the pod and talking shop. Talking tokens, talking products. I mean, I'm just going to repeat what Cooper just said, but that's why
I just said the exact same thing. Word for word.
I don't know why else. Why else? We're all doing it for the same reason. We like coming on here and talking to each other about what happened in crypto last week. That's why we're all on here. We like to talk to each other. We like to see what other people say about what we say. And it's a good little recap every week.
That's why we do
every
it.
Week.
That's why we do it.
I get to hear your perspectives, you know? Everybody kind of comes at the same things differently. Shit gets thrown on this agenda that I wouldn't have seen otherwise, you know?
Shout out
David
to my
is a
Twitter
big fan
likes.
of the agenda.
I am a big fan of the agenda. Today I added a couple things to the agenda. You know?
David in general is a fan of structure. I've learned this over 20 episodes. David is a big fan of structure. David, when you go traveling, are you the kind of guy that needs everything planned ahead of time, or can you be spontaneous?
No, I can be very spontaneous, but it's got to be the spontaneous day.
Huh. Well, maybe one of these days we'll find a spontaneous day.
Spontaneity in the structure, you know.
We love it.
That's what it's about.
Coop, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? Back in the office, on the road.
I'm feeling great.
First
day back in the office.
What's going on? Fill us in.
We were in Japan for a little bit, hanging out at Fuji Rock, going to Circus, seeing a Fred again pop up, checking out Kyoto, having a great time. Best country in the world. Got back, went to Denver. We saw Lyra play a headline show. Her second headline show sold out, 2 for 2, one in New York, one in Denver. She's got LA this week. And then we popped over to Chicago, little Lollapalooza action. We saw Jiggets play an after party on Friday. Daniel Allan, very special set on Saturday. Saw a Salute after party on Saturday night. And then Sunday we came back to LA, hard summer. Daniel Allan popped off, great set. And now we're back in the office. And it feels good. Feels good to be back, boys.
Is Daniel Allan crypto's up and coming, potentially soon to be breakout artist?
I like the way you frame that, Adam. You know, I don't think that we're quite there yet, but I think there's some early signs and I'm feeling pretty good about it. I think there's some good momentum. The big question though is how does it tie back in? Because I think you and I will agree back in the day, 2021, the way that artists were engaging with their crypto community was very different from the way that most artists are engaging today. I think there's a big stigma around being on chain, launching coins, launching collectibles, talking to your audience, talking to your collectors. And so I'm definitely really happy with the growth that we're seeing with Daniel's project in the real world, but I'll be the first to say there's not as much of a direct connection as there used to be anymore. And so I think we got to really figure out what that looks like for there to be a true success story and case study here.
I feel like there's a Mint podcast episode somewhere of Daniel Allan saying his dream is to play at Lollapalooza. There has to be one. And then only for him to make it to...
What was that? Did he say that? That was his dream?
Yeah, that's been his dream for, I feel like, ages, has it not?
100%. I actually have a little video pulled up here. Let's see if I can share it. I don't know if the sound will share with it too, but let's see what we got. It's actually a video of him playing at Lollapalooza.
Oh, wow. Run it. Start it.
Can you guys hear this or just see it?
To the post. Alone, stripped by Michael. Stolen by him. He scores! The Bulls lead 87-86 with 5 and 2/10 left.
Popping off, by the way. Going very viral in real time, which we're pretty stoked about.
When I'm back in Chicago, I feel it. Another version of me, I'm living. I can feel my Juliet.
Oh,
Wow. Wow.
There it is, baby.
Chills. Absolute chills. Absolute chills. Insane.
So
So
some might
crazy.
say he's soon to be, could be up and coming, maybe soon at some point in the future, crypto's first breakout artist.
Unless Death Pixie gets there first, Who knows?
Wow.
Who knows?
Wow. Wow.
David's coming in hot out here.
All right. Okay. Okay. All
Mr.
right.
Structure.
I, for one,
Mr.
I, for one, am
Spontaneity over here.
incredibly proud.
Boom.
I'm incredibly proud. And David, I would love to see that. I would personally love to see that.
I would love to see it. You know what I would really love to see is I would love it to be the fall of on-chain artists rising.
The fall of the rise. How does that
The
work?
fall, I didn't
You're
even
saying the
realize
season.
that. The season.
Oh,
the season.
tis the
Yeah, yeah.
season.
I think
Not
in the fall we're gonna have a resurrection. It's a resurrection this fall. We got Daniel Allan out there. We got Death Pixie out there. We got song coins. Got a lot of song coins with a lot of artists from Cooper Turley over there. I think it's gonna be a resurrection in the fall into 2026. New
hope
blood.
so.
New blood, new energy.
I think the way it happens though is going to look different from the way that it's happened before with like the
Always.
NFT run and whatnot. It was all driven by just like crypto native people just buying other crypto native artists or artists that wanted to lean in and be really crypto native. I think this run has to be different in the sense that like people are buying these coins for the first time they buy anything on chain. And like it probably can't just be like all crypto people. It's got to be like new people that come in and buy these things. Obviously, we say this so much in this podcast, but yeah.
Another big difference is that it is not going to feel like these are crypto native artists. Like Daniel, I know why we're saying, he's the first crypto native artist to break out. And I've got a tremendous amount of respect for how long Daniel stuck with it. And he didn't need to stick with it for this long. But he stuck with it. But Daniel's just an artist and he's going to have crypto components to what he does. I think the same is going to be true of everybody releasing on CoopRex right now. And that's also how we were talking about this the other day with Death Pixie and the virtual artists. It's like, we shouldn't be looking at these as like on-chain artists or crypto artists. Like these are just artists, and one vertical of what we do interacts heavily on chain. And it's a place where we feel we're ahead and can be different. But these need to be artists for real people, the same way Disco Lines is an artist for a real person, and the same way Disco Lines could have a song coin in 2026. I think that's going to be the big like us not looking at people as crypto artists or crypto music artists, but just they're artists, and some of them have on-chain components to them.
I do feel like all of us are in a pretty unique position though, bringing like all of these creators to this world in some way, shape, or form, whether it's through like song coins or through the blueprint drops or through Hume World or whatnot. We're all kind of getting in the mix in some capacity here. So I guess, Adam, I'll let you segue from there, but it's interesting that we're all going about it with different tenets of trying to bring this stuff on chain.
I just wanted to segue because you guys are kind of comparing like they are of NFTs to coins, and obviously coins are the meta right now. It's driving the most amount of attention. The apps that have the highest probability of reaching the largest audiences are all prioritizing coins. But I think there's something interesting to spotlight here. This one came from an investor. I don't know who this is. I think this is, I don't know his first name. Maybe you guys know. I'm going to share my screen. But basically comparing Farcaster's recent one of one NFT launch feature that they have for bidding on casts to Zora's volume. So this was posted or tweeted about July 30th, about 5 days ago from this recording. And comparing the volume, And on one end, Farcaster obviously like has done an incredible job onboarding people. Definitely a core pillar of attention in crypto, and actively trying to onboard as many normies as Base or Zora if we're just focusing on the Ethereum ecosystem, and doing some comparables to what's working and what's not working. How do you guys feel about this? Comparing the volume, creator earnings, the number of creators, buyers, all those things. How do you guys feel about this?
So my thoughts here are looking at the volume to creator earnings. I'm really most drawn to this figure on the right here. The volume 13 million to 65K in creator earnings versus 26K in volume to 23K in creator earnings. I think that difference in the amount of money that's needed to drive that much creator earnings is really, really interesting to me. The top 3 creators is also interesting to me, where there's not as huge of a gap as I would think so. I think the hardest thing to quantify here is like the impact that you feel from the attention around the coins volume and the attention around the collectibles volume. It's funny because creators are getting paid almost the same amount with the collectibles, but the collectibles feel way smaller in their attention than the coins do, which was basically the entire thing on my timeline over the course of the last 2 weeks. As a crypto native user, I'm definitely a lot more invested in the coin side of things. I find myself checking the Zora charts pretty frequently, almost like every day now, and trying to see what's happening and what's going on. I don't find myself actively trying to check collectibles, auctions, etc. So they're very different approaches. I think that there's actually a lot of room for both of them. And I will say that at CoopRex, our current thought process is how do you kind of get the best of both worlds here? How do you still have some sort of collectible element that precedes the launch of a coin and allow those creators to capture more of those earnings up front versus just relying entirely on trading volume, which I think only really works at the extreme. But I definitely am pretty interested to hear your take on this and see what you think about it.
I had a very similar reaction. I think like the jaw drop for me is like, wow, $13 million in volume led to 65K in earnings. Feels like the gap between that is significant compared to, 26K in volume led to 23K in earnings. I think there's still mutual agreement so far that NFTs might still be the best form factor for creator earnings. It's just that it doesn't suffice the demand side that's required to stimulate trading activity, which is, of course, why Zora is doing what they're doing and Base is doing what they're doing. So that makes a lot of sense. If you build for the demand side, then you could take a percentage of that for the supply side. I'm still kind of torn. I think the right model between these is finding a balance between the NFT model and the coins model. I would actually, I'm curious to hear your perspective. Like you've been a very big proponent of running incentivized mints for a year and a half plus, and more recently you've transitioned to coins. I mean, how are you seeing creator earnings through that? How has that impacted your record label model, conversations that you have with large agencies or large labels? I feel like there's really unique insight on that front.
A lot of hesitation to do coins from artists and from record labels. They think that it's too much like gambling and they're really worried about fans losing money. The earnings are only apparent if there's a ton of trading volume. And so we saw a lot of volume around the launch of Song Coins on the first day that we did some new coins. Every launch that we've done since then has not had even remotely near the same level of volume. And so those earnings have been pretty low in aggregate. And so we've been doing collectibles in the background the whole time, and we're still going to keep doing collectibles. I think for me, it's just clear now that you can't rely on a coin to drive a consistent amount of earnings to a creator. And so you need to have some sort of model that underpins it in order to generate consistent income for these artists and for these releases on Coop Records. And so the way we're looking at it currently is that every song is still going live as a collectible. Select one of those songs are being kind of curated and launched as coins currently. And our current work stream is basically building the collectible model into a more automated coin graduation flow. And so once a collectible sells out, there's going to be a coin that gets launched on top of it. Different from the way it's been approached in the past, though, where it's not just like a one-to-one version of it. There's a specific portion of the supply that's going to the early collectors. Those early collectors are basically going to be seen as like early fans because they were the first to participate in these markets. But we believe it's kind of interesting because not everything has to be a coin from day one. And what we're seeing is there is so much hesitation from artists to do coins that if we can position it as there's basically only going to be coins for songs that have a sufficient amount of demand, it actually allows us to still serve sort of the smaller developing artist that probably doesn't have a ton of, interest or speculation around them. All of the sales that they have on Coop Records are almost going directly to them through collectibles, but there's still sort of that like added bonus of, hey, if this does sell out and there is a lot of interest, then it can turn into a coin. And so we're hoping we can kind of get the best of both worlds. I think it's going to be an interesting case study, given that there's been attempts at this in the past. But I think for the market we're serving and the type of media type that we're serving, I actually think that it makes a lot of sense for us.
Is it better to build a network of market cap coins, like very diluted, not diluted? Let me say this very intentionally. I'm trying to understand the difference in the pros and cons, or what's better long term. Like, to better have a network of market caps, and what value does that actually bring to the creator if they say that I have $1 million market cap coin, versus reflecting back to the early NFT days where there was a secondary volume that came from just the sheer fire of trading these collectibles and the money that was made from all the royalties and the culture that was built around that. Like, is there something net better to have a network of market caps? You know what I mean? Like, what does that bring to the creator when the creator boasts, I have $1 million coin? Like, what does that do at the end of the day to the creator?
I think it's just better bragging rights, frankly. Like, speaking from personal experience, having my Zora coin go to like $1 million market cap, like, felt really powerful. Even though I didn't make anywhere near $1 million off of that, I think it's just something that you can post and feel excited about, for lack of a better term. I think that the product itself, showing a lot of coins with market caps, feels like it has more energy and momentum. I don't think that people look at like mint numbers and like get excited about that. And obviously there's not really any secondary volume for collectibles as it exists today. And so I just think it's like a basket look when you come to a page and you see like a lot of market caps that are differing. It's very immediate what you're going for here in terms of trying to find different songs early. I think that the collectibles thing is more of like a patronage model, and I don't think there's much demand for that. So our best case scenario is like, can we capture both worlds where there still is an element of like patronage and more like direct support of the artist, but then the main metric is still what's the market cap of this song and how do we drive that outcome as much as possible, but do it in a way that doesn't lead to disappointment for the artists that decide to launch coins and don't get any volume because they left more money on the table from doing a collectible instead of a coin because there just wasn't $1 million in trading volume, which I don't think can be expected from all songs in the long run, which is why I think we need this kind of more tailored approach for smaller independent artists as well.
I think I resonate with that. I was had dinner with my friends like last week, and I onboarded all of them to Zora, and I kind of just took the back seat just to see what their initial reactions would be and how they would feel about the process and the neon green market cap versus like the neon pink, down market, whatever that is. And they thought it was really cool. Like, they actually used that word, like, this is really cool. And it came from a place of like, this is very different. Like, they looked at one post of a picture. There's some random ass picture. They're like, this is worth $840. Like, that's where their head went just because the perceived market cap gave it some sort of value. But in hindsight, they're like, so now I have $840 that I could spend. Like, that's where their mind went next. And it's like, you have to share with them. It's like, no, you only get a sliver of it, but people trade it. And they're like, okay, so what do I do next? Now that I have this, can I sell it? And like, yes, but you have to explain to them that you shouldn't sell it, at least not yet. Just wait and hold on. So the initial interaction, the initial first impression is really magical and really positive. But then once they go down the hole of buying and posting and trying to sell, like, it gets a bit more it got a bit more confusing for them.
I think that's just the stage we're at, though, right? Is like the confusing nature is what is to be iterated on now, because I think that the current hurdle to solve for most crypto companies is just how do you get people to actually do shit on chain? How do you get people to launch coins, launch creator coins, launch content coins, whatever it might be? The default nature of that, I think, makes it easier to get involved in the first place. And now I think we can start to solve the bigger challenge, which is like, how do you actually monetize your content? And one thing I heard Jacob talking about on the ThreadGuy podcast the other week was automated selling is something that they're thinking a lot about. And so instead of you as the creator having to come in and like consciously dump your tokens or dump your post or whatever, how do you just bake that into the actual transactions themselves? And so that you're earning from sells automatically instead of that happening as more of like a deliberate one-off action, which I think is very net positive.
I think also this conversation ties back into another article that was posted by Myosin, this marketing agency in crypto. This was also shared by Jacob, and I didn't read the full article, but there was one particular line that stood out to me. And for those listening, I'm just going to read it. But Zora is built different, Zora is different. Creators make money when their fans make money. Everyone is incentivized to stick around and win together. no exit scams, no bag holders, no choosing between ethics and eating. And I don't know if I agree with this 100%. It's still like a PvP market. The demand side is still waiting for an exit to dump on the rest of the demand side. Like it's still an early trader's game for the most part. Like if you find a good creator, you bet on them. You dump on everybody else, assuming you're a strategic
Right.
trader in that regard, right? If these markets end up maturing the way regular crypto markets or regular stock markets do, like there's going to be all that inefficiency and all that dumping on retail as there exists in traditional markets, So I don't know if it's like a really kumbaya, everyone runs together type of environment. I don't know. It doesn't resonate with me. Although I'm a fan of the coins model. I made money from the coins model as a creator and as a trader, and it's a beautiful model, but it feels like something's just not sticking with me 100%.
For me, it's still a specific type of user and a specific type of creator. And to go back to something I said before I got kicked off this podcast, like something that more like hardcore crypto natives will do. And Cooper, you've been a little more tied into it than me and I think than Adam. But is there a creator on Zora yet that's like totally not crypto affiliated in the top 30?
Yeah, I would say Tiny Soul Game is a good example of that. I would say Tiny Soul Game. Let me just pull up the charts right here.
Tiny Soul Game had like no crypto anything before this, like
not to my understanding now.
Okay, that would be a good example.
Or like this, what's this guy's name? Rui Hong Art. He does like a bunch of like 3D graphics and AI graphics and stuff like that. I think to your point, the vast majority is crypto native accounts and people.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
Fake Taxi is a good example of that. The #1 coin right now.
Not
You're
crypto
not
at
click
all.
that. Don't click on that link though on the podcast. Don't do that.
No. Okay.
Yeah, but
I just kind of want to. Maybe this link is okay.
Yeah, deck screener is cool. We can pull up the deck screener link. But yeah, I think that I think that there's not really many non-crypto native people that have seen success on the platform, which is very apparent to me right now. I also think, Adam, I wanted to add in one other point that you made me think of. Recalling that interview on ThreadGuy, it's not only like automated selling for creators, but they're looking at more automated tools for selling for users as well. So like if you like buy a post and you just double tap it, they're saying that the hardest thing is like if you're up a bunch on a post, how do you like come back and know how to time that sell? And I think what they're looking at doing, and this is just me guessing, is that there's probably more automated sells that happen if you hit like a 10x or something like that, or if you hit like a 2x or something like that. Like maybe there's an automatic swap that happens on the back end, or even there's a notification to sell or something like that. But I do think, to your part, the actively trading these things and managing your positions and knowing when to buy, when to sell, how much you have of a certain position, that feels kind of like the next level to abstract away here. So I'm definitely very excited about that being the focus now, because I actually do think that the onboarding has gotten pretty seamless. And I mean, you saw that from your friends as well, Adam, and that's what I've been seeing from my friends IRL, where downloading the mobile app and just posting a picture is actually pretty straightforward. I think it's now just about everything else that comes around that.
Yeah, it's really so simple and so well done, truly.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys saying that your friends are having trouble understanding how they make money though, or what the relation to like market cap in there?
What I was saying, what I was saying, we were saying this before you got on. Basically, they saw a picture. It was like $800 something, but that was like that was a market cap, But they see neon green, they see $850. They're like, oh wow, this is worth $850, and they're like, okay, let me post something, And then I go buy it, and then it has an initial perceived value of whatever. And they think, okay, now I have something worth something of value. And what do I do with this value next?
I will say it's fun to show it to my normal friends, and like they are open to it and they do think it's cool. And it's probably the first crypto app that I can like show people on my phone, and they're like, what is this? And then even I saw on my Zora invites, I've just been like posting my Zora on Instagram, like a screenshot of like my, market cap or whatever with the link to my profile and like a link to join. And there was like, 15, 20 people that all just like signed up through that link, made an account. And then by default, they all just launched a coin. And I think people in crypto are going to be like, oh, that's insane. Like, what are we talking about here? But, they added that new like hold to activate button if you have like an old account to launch a new coin. And I actually have come around to believing now that just like, if you're new to crypto and you're downloading it for the first time, just like launching the coin by default is probably good. Like, I think that's a good thing. I think it's like good that you don't have to like think about it or press a button or anything like that. So yeah, I feel like I've been outwardly pretty bullish and vocal about Zora on this podcast, but just doubling down on how honestly how good the app has become. And for anyone that's listening to it that hasn't tried it, you just got to spend like 10-20 minutes in the app and you'll see that it's definitely different from a lot of things that have come before it.
I think on the topic, you brought up ThreadGuy, right? One of the streams that Jacob did with ThreadGuy. I think it's a good transition. ThreadGuy launches Counterparty. Shout out ThreadGuy. Congrats on the launch. Pretty cool. I fuck with the brand. I think it's a really cool brand.
Shout out to Mac D Gods as well, a collaborator that's working very closely with ThreadGuy on that. I think that he's also a very essential part of the puzzle that might not be as public facing, but definitely makes a big difference here. Yeah, I mean, go ahead and read those stats there.
X clip impressions 1.3 mil, Twitch viewers 11K, X live viewers 38K, YouTube views 12K, Twitch subs 348, TikTok 565K plus.
I think they're super excited, and I'm happy Thread has officially taken the lead with his own brand to be crypto's #1 live streamer. I think that he's always put his best foot forward, even with some controversy. But I feel like he's always been the leader in trying to make sure that crypto is being more mainstream and more on these channels like Twitch. And he does an excellent job of speaking and finding the smartest people in the space and making sure those voices get heard. So I think this is great for the space, great for Thread. Big moves.
Is mine on there, Adam?
What is this on? What is this on dash chain? There you are. Look at that smile.
There he is. Yeah. Who is that? Is that Coop? Who could that
Plus
be?
Music is the future _.
Where's Bankless in all this? What happened to Bankless? I don't hear about Bankless anymore.
They're still out there. They're fighting the good fight. I wish we had Soup here. He might have the. I mean, they still exist, and I believe they also have a fund. Like, there's a fund attached to Bankless still. Maybe Coop would maybe know.
Yeah, Bankless is doing great.
Yeah,
it's doing great. It's just a different business. They're just focused on DeFi. Still have regular podcasts, regular guests, diehard fan base, ton of subscribers. They're doing great as investors, as users in crypto. And yeah, I think they're in a different chapter. You know what I mean? It's a different echelon. I think that the early Bankless days were David and Ryan grinding, and making a brand for themselves and making a name for themselves and making money and building up their audience and their business and whatnot. And DeFi was center stage, Ethereum was center stage. And so, tides have just shifted a little bit. And maybe that's not the core focus, but there's still like a very niche audience there that is really attentive. And I think that Bankless is still like one of, if not the most trusted sources of DeFi news and activity. So yeah, I think you don't just hear about it as much because obviously like the coins and meme coin stuff is a lot more of the center stage now, but there's a lot of different flavors here. I'll also give a shout out to the 11 a.m. guys here. I think it's just something that we were talking a lot about at Not a Cartel. Love what they're doing. The daily streams format is like really taking full swing. David, you mentioned when you went on the other week that it's like a full operation that they got going on there. So big shout out to Jess, Josh. I think that they're putting a ton of good effort into it. Top 10 coin on Zora right now. And I think that there's a very good reason for that. So really love what they're doing too.
Yeah, I was on there last week with Jess and Josh. I was very impressed with the full operation they're running. It really put into perspective how much goes into running a live stream at that level. I think there were at least 3 people outside of them that I interacted with in the waiting room on the way to being live. And it puts in perspective how hard it is to like run these things, have constant guests, and do a really good job. And it's really top quality what they've been doing so far, I think. And they're getting good guests. So I think between 11 a.m. and Counterparty, crypto live stream is it's hitting the masses in 2026, along with the artists.
I was going to say, I also want to give a shout out to Boys Club too, who's also been doing their own live stream, having a ton of good guests on, getting a bunch of good clips. And I'll give a shout out to Shillforce as well. Trevor's new company about clipping. Shout out to Trevor. Shout out to Abby Titcomb, who's been helping out there. It's a really cool product. You basically can incentivize people to create content for you. And they helped me activate a campaign for my interview with ThreadGuy. And across all the different videos, it got, I can pull it up, but I want to say like 250K views or something like that. across like TikTok and a bunch of platforms, and I got to review some of the videos, and they're all pretty good, and there was a ton of comments on them. And I don't quite know if it was like how much of it was all legit or whatnot, but yeah, I'm looking now. There's $100 paid out, and there's been 625,000 views across all of the videos that have been submitted for the campaigns.
Wow.
So
How much was paid
quality
out?
bar, $100 so far, $100.
$100.
But it's all very manual. Like you have to go in and approve the campaigns. And so I have another call on Wednesday just to get more integrated in the system there. But I don't know. I think just to kind of tie it all back to the ThreadGuy stuff with Counterparty, it's like once there is a consistent source of content and a daily recurring source of content, having the engine to be able to clip that content, put it out into the world, and then offer rewards for it, I think that dare I say the word, flywheel. That flywheel is very exciting to me. And so anyone that's iterating at that intersection, I got a lot of love for right now. I've been ripping the TikToks. We got some popping off left and right, and it's fun. It feels like kind of a new chapter for content and distribution. And honestly, a big reason why I've been so hype on Zora is that it gives me a good foundation to just like post that content within crypto too. So I don't know if I had to, give myself a little bit of a shout out here. I was definitely a little early to the Zora Creator Coin thing, but I think the big thing I'm proud of is that I've been posting on there very actively for a number of weeks now. And I think it's showing off. With, my Creator Coin and where it's at right now. And I'm excited for where it can go from here.
Love that.
Go buy my shit on Zora.
Where are you right now in Zora?
Are you
Where
aware
on
of
the
your
leaderboard?
holders? How in touch are you with your holders? Like, are you checking who's buying your post, who's buying your coin, or you're just focused on posting? And I say this not to be like, what's your relationship with your holders? I want to know, like, from someone who's posting as much as you are, how do you interact with the app?
I open the app basically every day to check the creator charts. I post a video a couple times a week, I'd say 2 or 3 times a week. I've been doing this a lot where I'll post videos of songs that are on Coop Records and be like, the ticker is this, and then you can buy the song coin on Coop Records at XYZ. Tried out the carousel last week. Yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's definitely fun. To answer your question directly, David, I'm definitely not like actively, I don't have like a holders chat or anything, which honestly, maybe I should. I think is a good idea. You just get a lot of notifications on Zora when someone buys your coin. And so what I'll do is if someone buys my coin and they're like legit and have a following, I'll like follow them back. Maybe buy a little bit of their coin, buy a post or something like that. But even in the last couple of weeks, it looks like I'm up to 19K followers on Zora here now. When I made my creator coin, I think I was at 11K maybe. So it's definitely almost doubled since the launch of creator coins, which is pretty cool. Look at that. Buying some of your girl Taylor there, David.
Look at that.
Looks great.
But this is the grid. You look at the grid there. It's like I got enough to fill up the whole grid. And I've said this before, but like my reference point for like who's going to do good on Zora is just like who's posting actively, and I think there was a lot of people who joined during the wave of the creator coin rush and they posted one time and they haven't posted since. And so basically what I'm doing is just looking every day at the top 10 charts, seeing what new people enter the chat there, and then just scrolling the feed and just trying to buy creators that I think are pretty active there. And then just like small amounts of buys on content that I think could go viral, but I really, really like it. I think it's been super fun. And I'm back to 760. So we went below $1 million recently, and I'm determined to make it back up to that $1 million cap at some point here soon. Not a bad looking chart though,
Incredible.
boys. Not a bad looking chart.
Not a bad looking chart.
Pretty good chart.
Not a bad looking chart.
Now let me ask you a
Love
question.
that.
When I sent my creator coin in the Not a Cartel chat the day it launched, did either of you goons buy it or no?
I bought it later.
Pretty sure I bought.
My favorite story is that I was at the diner. So I launched my creator coin at 5 a.m. on a Friday night. And I'm at this diner. It's me, Daniel, and like 10 people that are just hanging out from the show, 10 or 12 people. I launched the coin and I'm like, fuck. I'm like, I launched this coin. This is unbelievable. And I'm like, to everyone that's at the diner, I'm like, it was actually such a meme. I was like, buy my coin. I was like, buy my coin. This thing just went live. If you buy this coin, you're going to make money. I was like, this thing's at a $5,000 cap. I was like, everyone at the dinner table, 12 people, I was like, all of you, stop what you're doing. Buy this coin. And obviously the joke is that no one knows what the fuck that means. No one knows how to buy this coin. Like they all think that I'm insane. But to so many people, I was like, basically like, here's entry to this coin at $5,000 market cap because you just happened to be at the dinner table and I accidentally launched it. And not a single person at that dinner table bought my coin. And it would be up like literally 100x on like the coin from being like the very first people to be there. So I have personally loved these moments IRL when you're just like, oh my God, it's my favorite thing. I'm at a show on like Lollapalooza on Friday night. Knock 2's headlining the Perry stage. He plays the Days. There's like 40,000 people like all at the stage watching it. And I just turned to my friend Mark and I'm just like, 200K market cap. I'm like, this is unbelievable. So it's still a good meme, just like the disconnect between like there being a genuinely what I believe to be good opportunity to buy something on chain, and then there just being like zero interest to do that at all if you're like a real person. And we're fighting the good fight out here, boys. We're fighting the good fight.
You're out there.
Talking about coins, I think this is a swell time to introduce the NAC coin. There it is, the debut of the NAC coin. We did it. We did it. We launched it. How do we feel about it? No trades.
I'll go first.
Feel good about it.
I feel like number one, we're not verified, which is something that is not good. I think that us doing an airdrop to holders was cool, but we're not posting on this account actively. And so I don't expect it to do good until we actually start taking it more seriously. And I think if you look at the other accounts that are taking it seriously, they're posting clips every day. They're posting a lot of content on here. We have one post that's on here. We don't even have a Twitter account that's connected. So I would give our NAC coin like maybe a 5 out of 10 rating right now. I think there's a lot of potential here, but I think though if we want it to do well, we got to take it a lot more seriously. That's what I think.
We need clips.
We need clips.
We do have the deck screener updated. Deck screener's been updated. That's pretty good. Run some campaigns. Let's get a Twitter connected to that. Let's fire it up. I think that we got a good foundation here. I think it's just about, really leaning in and taking this more seriously than we currently are with the coin that's currently live on there.
You cut out. You said, what do you give it?
$0 a volume. I give it a 5 out of 10 currently.
Okay. 5 out of 10. At least we got the banner. Look at this chart.
Yeah, look at that chart. It's fantastic.
Jesus Christ. We'll redeem ourselves. $1 of liquidity. How's that even possible?
Yeah, that can't be correct.
This is not where it needs to be.
Yeah.
This is not where it needs to be, gang. But
we have to start that chart out. Thanks for that.
We're out there.
Just gonna stop sharing my screen and move on to the next topic. Oi.
Man, we got a lot of other topics in here, and I got to be honest, I don't know how much we're going to be able to get to in this current time frame here.
I'll tell you what, I think we could choose just a couple, and then we can wrap it up for the sake of banter. Basecamp is coming up in Vermont. That's a good quick one. Shout out Basecamp. I don't know how they got to Vermont. I don't know what's in Vermont. Has anyone been to Vermont? But it's happening. Basecamp, Vermont.
A little far
Who's
for
going?
LA boys.
A little far for the LA boys.
A little far for the LA boys.
I will say
Vermont?
that there's a on-chain summit in SF happening in a couple weeks, which feels like more of a viable option for the LA boys, the West Coast crew. I did realize that it's during Burning Man, and so I will not be attending, unfortunately.
James
I will be in the desert with no phone, but should be a crypto conference.
Have you been a Burning Man, Coop, or is this the first time?
First time I'm going to be burning.
Wow. That's going to be big.
Still a thing.
Did you just say it's Burning Man?
Because I read a thing. I read somewhere that people have stopped going to it. They're struggling or something.
I think it's still very much a thing.
It's absolutely very much.
I don't know.
There's people whose entire lives is just Burning Man.
My sources have been saying that it is not what it used to be.
That's what everyone says about everything ever.
Well, Coop, I wish you the best. I hope you get a lot of dust in your nose.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy your time.
Speaking of Burning Man, shout out to these companies raising a lot of money. Very correlated topics there.
Great transition. Love that. Stable. 28 milli. Billions. 30 milli. What do they do? Another L1.
Boom. We need more L1s. We need more L1s.
What is Billions doing? All right. A human and AI network, but it's universal. 30 milli. What does that mean? Not sure. polychains behind it, so it must be something. It must be something, right, guys? Right? Right.
Yeah.
Power
Right.
to them. I think
Power
anyone
to 'em.
raising capital
Love
right
it.
now in this market is bullish for crypto. I'll give a big shout out to Evan at Billions, who I like a lot. She's been grinding on this intersection for a very long time. I think almost pre AI days, but she found a way to position it into something that people are really excited about. And so I might not know a ton about it, but I respect the cap table. I respect the people investing in it. And I think that any investment in the crypto space is bullish for us. So shout out Stable, shout out
Amen.
Billions. Let's keep it coming.
Who's the founder? Tell us more about the founder.
Evan McMillan. She was at Consensus previously, and then she started her own startup called Disco, which was more of an identity play, self-sovereignty data play. And I believe now she is a co-founder of Billions. I don't know her exact role within the company, but I'm happy for her. And it seems like the company's doing well. So
It looks
shout
like
out
it's a
Evan
little
McMillan.
bit of an identity play still.
Correct. I mean, it's giving
pretty
WorldCoin.
cool.
That's kind of the energy that I'm getting
I was
from it.
about,
And if
I
I
was
had to
about
take
to
a
say
guess,
this feels like a WorldCoin competitor, but it
Correct.
also seems like it's not just about verifying who's human. It's also about verifying who the AIs are and maybe having like a more broad perspective on identity.
right.
Seems kind of cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if we need another L1, but there's Billions. Billions could be cool.
Billions could be cool.
Billions could be cool.
What should we wrap it up with, guys?
I think what do we got? What else do we have here on the Coinbase adds support for Banker?
Shout out Soup. Shout
Shout
out
out
Lucas.
He's a
We gotta
big
get a
Banker
clip of that
boy.
one. We gotta get a clip of that one.
And you know what? 10-year ETH anniversary. It feels like that was a
let's end
while
on
ago
that.
at this point. But I thought it was, first of all, I think the ETH Foundation has turned a corner. Everybody's happy to see it. And I thought that, I don't remember who posted it. It was from somebody from the ETH Foundation, but their whole attitude was this isn't a point to look backwards. It's actually a really exciting moment to look forwards into the next 10 years and how ETH is going to play into quantum computing, robotics, AI, and really focusing on what the next 10 years of ETH look like versus us all, celebrating the last 10 years. And it actually got me excited about the next decade and kind of put things in perspective that, not to use an old cliche, but we're actually still early.
Yeah. I like that.
Totally.
David.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Totally.
I think it was I can't remember his last Thomas can't find it. It was a great post, and I think it really set the tone for the community. And shout out the ETH Foundation. They've been doing a great job since they made these changes. I feel like even without price, obviously price goes up is the best marketing you can have, but you can just tell there's a big difference in how people are talking about ETH online, and it starts with the people at the foundation and some new hires they've made. I think Coop gave a shout out to Benji, who's over there now, and those people are just talking about ETH differently, and it's setting a new tone.
$3,700 ETH. It's looking good. Chart's looking bullish. I don't want to jinx it, but we could see an ETH all-time high this year. We really
Don't
could.
jinx it. Don't jinx it. I
Shut
think
your
we should
mouth.
end there, though. That's a good
I
place
think
to
we
end.
there.
He's
Love
in a
that.
good spot. Let's end there.
How does
Why don't you
Soup typically
take us home?
How does Soup wrap this up? You can find this episode on pods.media / not a cartel potentially. I don't know what the URL is, but go collect the episode. Go check out the coin on Zora. We'll be putting some more time and effort into it, plus some more. What else? What else does Soup say? What does Soup say? That's about it. Thank you for listening. Episode 28, baby. We'll see you soon.
We'll see you next week. All right,
All right.
gentlemen.
See you next
Peace.
week.